Today we're going over geological proof of Sodom and Gomorrah. In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, there was a righteous man named Lot. And Lot found grace in the sight of the Lord. The Lord had sent two angels to destroy the city, but Lot had called the angels at nighttime to call them in his house. They ate and had bread, but the men in the city, young and old, had came and tried to lay with the two angels, and the angels smote them in blindness. Early in the morning, God had grace on Lot and told him to take his stepsons and daughters out of the city. His stepsons didn't want to go, but he took his daughters and wife, and they fled the city. His wife turned back and turned to a pillar of salt, and as soon as they left, fire came down from the sky and held upon the city. The city was burnt to ashes, and it's described in the Bible that the city had green pastures and was like Eden in its time, but now it's a wasteland. Fast forward thousands of years later, Sodom and Gomorrah is seen to be a wasteland with ashen buildings and deposits of pure sulfur up to 98%. I'm gonna play a clip so you guys can see what I'm talking about for all my visual learners.
Okay, we're down at Sodom and Gomorrah still. Right in front of you see some unusual looking spots on this, shall we say, layer of ash. It's not stone, it's ash. Now we'll move in for a close-up of this. And you can see that they're kind of circular shaped places. Now what we have found, and we'll move in a little closer here, is that inside each of these is sulfur. That is in most of them. Now the ones that do not have sulfur in them, and this one we just took a bunch of sulfur out and put it in our specimen bag. But the ones that don't have sulfur have a very black center where they have, where it's been very hot.
By intense flames, a supernatural heat that was directed by the hand of God. Today there is ash that is of lighter color than the surrounding mountains and terrain. Inspecting the formations closely, one can see structures containing man-made elements, such as 90-degree angles. This stunning structure stands out as a singular formation with 4 sides, surrounded by a deep moat. We move in closer to inspect the unusual features evident on the side of the formation. These swirling designs were also seen in other ashen formations in the cities. This is evidence of extreme heat, up to 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit, where thermal ionization occurs, when the electrons repel and attract, forming these unusual swirling designs. Strange anomalies can be seen here, such as these fragile layers of material which disintegrate when touched. The limestone buildings in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were totally transformed into ash by the consuming fire of the Lord. When God unleashes a consuming fire, it will turn stone into ashes. At the perimeter of this city, one can see this amazing Sphinx still standing today. The Sphinx stands alone as a singular structure with a defined shape. This particular Sphinx has an obvious demarcation between its base and the soil below it, another sign of a man-made structure placed on top of the soil. One can also find loose or powdery ash that is quite thick and has been deposited next to the formations. In the formations themselves, some material can be gently raked off the surface with the slightest touch. Looking down the city streets, one can notice man-made shapes which are not found in nature. We can see the remains of walls that extended outward at 90-degree angles from the main structure. Once again, further evidence of man-made construction. As we pan across the city, we can see in the distance an arched doorway that exhibits a symmetrical shape even to this day. The whole land is brimstone, salt and burning. It is not sown, nor does it bear, nor does any grass grow there. We can see white, ashen worship structures built atop an acropolis or high place. Both a sphinx and ziggurat are seen here, side by side, much like what we see in Egypt at Giza, with the Sphinx and the pyramids built in close proximity to each other. It is approximately 30 feet long and is quite impressive, both in its shape and size. Resting near it is the ziggurat, symmetrical in shape and also comprised of a special white material. On the outside of the ziggurat, we spotted a piece of brimstone fused into the side of the formation. Using a knife, it was opened, revealing the pure brimstone inside. The most impressive evidence was this cremated bone fragment that was left behind from some lost soul of Gomorrah. The bone marrow inside was cooked until it had turned white, turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them to destruction, making them an example of those who afterward would live ungodly.
As you can see, just as it's been described in the Bible, Sodom and Gomorrah was a very real place with very real consequences. And as it's shown in the videos, guys, this stuff is real, man. The Bible is real. And you do have things that's going to go on when you die. So I made this video just for those who prefer visual learners, because in a way, because that's what I am. I'm a visual learner. And also, I hope you guys have a blessed day. In Jesus' name, amen.